Warning, before this story begins, viewer discretion is advised. The story has mentions of kidnapping and brutal violence to a child. So, if that is a problem for you, maybe consider going to the next story. But if you choose to listen to the story, please enjoy. I always loved Halloween. I suppose that's what inspired me to return to Arcadian Heights for their Nights of Fear event. It's been a good 10 years since I last visited, but I felt strangely compelled to return this year. I don't know, just felt like I had to, for one reason or another. I don't drive. I guess I never really got around to learning how to, you know? I imagine that probably makes me sound weak or overly skittish, whatever. I generally don't care what anyone thinks of me or how I choose to live my life. I just always feel more comfortable on foot or my bike or public transportation in some cases. I'm probably sounding like an asshole right now. I don't mean to. I'm feeling incredibly distracted today, detached, I guess, for one reason or another. It's like there's something on my mind that I just can't seem to reach. It's hard to describe, really. I mean, my mind tends to wander at times, but today, none of that is important. The last thing I need to get into is my muddled brain and scattered thoughts. I'm here now, and hopefully I can find some fun distractions, whether I fully understand why I chose to head to an amusement park or not. The bus dropped me off near the back of the parking lot. Seems a strange spot to arrive, but I guess they don't need to block the flow with the stretched-out eyesore of a heavy-ass vehicle. There were only 4 other people who disembarked the bus here. Some guy, about my age, maybe a little older, and a pretty brunette girl, probably his girlfriend. She looked maybe around her late teens, if I had to guess. The other 2 looked to be a father and son, the kid looking to be around 12 or so, and the dad maybe pushing 40. Why the hell am I focusing on the age of these people? There was something strangely familiar about them, though, like all 4 of them. I feel like we've met before. Probably from the bus station and the lengthy ride to get here. Yeah, the mind gets carried away, sitting away the hours in a bus. Distractions are nice. What am I distracting my mind from, exactly? What the hell is going on in my head that I need to find something else to occupy it? Just have some fun, kid. Enjoy the day off and bring in the spooky season, right? Halloween is a great time for places like these. This sort of thing used to scare me when I was just a little guy. I was the biggest sucker when it came to the silly jump scares provided by underpaid, costumed teens. I swear I'd jump right out of my pants back then. Nothing much scares me anymore, though. When I was walking through the massive parking lot, passing by vehicles of just about every size and shape, one particular car caught my eye. At face value, there was nothing especially outstanding about it, just an old-school, dark green station wagon with a phony wood paneling across the sides. That always struck me as a weird addition to a car, that shitty-looking false wood. Who the hell thought that feature would really sell a vehicle? I suppose it worked, though. Those damn things were everywhere, back in the day. Back in the day? Jesus, I'm only 20 for crying out loud. Am I even old enough to be able to claim back in the day? There was something about that car, though. It crept me out in a way I don't fully understand. Like I said, I don't get scared easily anymore, but that damn car made my palms sweat. Something serious. Who knows? I suppose my mind is just looking for any reason to carry itself away these days. Maybe I should see a shrink or something. It's like I have these blanks when I try to glance to the past. Probably something stupid. Yeah, enough of that. I wandered around aimlessly for a while, just drinking in the ambience of the park, all decorated up for the season. I rode a couple of the rides, even though some asshole preteens stole the seat I was trying to claim on the last coaster. Little shits acted like they didn't even see me when I asked them what the hell they were doing. Fortunately, only one guy was sitting in the next car down, so I just hopped in the seat beside him. I was halfway tempted to smack the little jerks across the back of the head halfway around the loop-de-loop. Just kids being kids, though. They're probably too hopped up on adrenaline and candy to think twice about their actions. It wasn't until a few minutes ago when I tried to order a drink and a hot dog at one of the food shacks when I started to get a bit concerned. I'm probably overreacting, but the guy behind the counter didn't pay me the slightest bit of attention either when I attempted to place my order. I don't like to be that douchebag causing a scene, but I raised my voice just to get his attention. He jumped a little, like he was caught off guard or something, just averting his gaze to the lady behind me. I was tempted to just drop it, move on to the next concession area, and chalk this up to the itty-bitty shorts the girl he was making goo-goo eyes at was wearing. When the next order came up over in the receiving line, I just swiped it while no one was looking. Yeah, not the most noble act, but it was a free meal nonetheless. Got some fries to go with my dog too. I did get a fairly alarmed look from some older lady after I snatched up the tray, but how the hell would she know that I wasn't who it was intended for? Why'd she look so freaked out, even if it was completely obvious I stole it? Was it that big of a deal? Some folks just overreact to the silliest things, I tell you. It's not like it was hers. Hell, she still had another burger waiting for her on her own tray, even with a mouthful of chili dog just drooping from her slack jaw. Whatever, not my problem. Yeah, the stolen dog is kind of churning my gut a bit, the perils of pilfered food, I guess. I'd love to say it hit the spot at the time, but it was sort of bland and flavorless. Almost tasted like an old sock, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's not like I go around tasting my footwear or anything, just seemed to fit like a sock. That was stupid. I'd like to hit up another coaster, but I don't know if that's a good idea right now. The wait will probably take a while. The dog is kind of churning my gut a bit, but maybe I won't be all bubbly by the time I reach the ride itself. When I walked up to the line, most others were either talking or playing on their phones. The lady right in front of me, chick looked around 60 if I had to guess. Hope she has a constitution for this ride. Anyway, she and anyone else who had their phones in their hands got a message within seconds of each other. Like, all of those different tones rang out, accompanied by a variety of vibrations. I wasn't trying to be nosy or anything, just curious, you know? But I was eyeballing the old lady's screen when she pulled up the message. She swiped away from it quickly, but it looked to be an Amber Alert. I didn't have time to see the description or name of the kid, but I saw that they were last seen getting into a '77 Buick Estate wagon, a green station wagon. I wonder if those had that phony wood paneling on the side. Surely it can't. What the hell was that about? I'm just standing in line right at the end like a responsible adult and all. Some prick just walked right into me, knocking me on my ass. He's all giggling with his girlfriend about, I don't know, whatever they were discussing when they walked up, acting like he didn't just practically push me to the ground. I'm not the confrontational type, but I got back to my feet and tried to push him back like he pushed me. Well, bumped me, I guess, but still, he didn't budge, didn't react in the slightest. I started shouting at him, making this big and honestly sort of pathetic scene, certain I'd end up with every eye in the park just glaring at me, but nothing. I'm panicking, freaking the hell out. I'm running around trying to grab anyone's attention, trying to convince them to hear me or feel me. I even attempted to slap some big guy across the face, but his skin didn't even contour from the impact. It felt like I was hitting a wall rather than flesh. What's going on here? They could see me before, right? I mean, that lady gave me the stink eye when I swiped that tray of food. She had to. Wait. Was she looking at me or the tray itself? That expression on her face, that wasn't disgust or the shock of someone ripping off food. It was fear. She was freaked out. Freaked out at what, a floating tray of food? Is that what she saw? Surely not, right? If she saw something like that, she'd surely make a bigger deal of it than just being all googly-eyed. Should I try that? Try grabbing something else, letting as many people see it as possible? I need to know if they can see me, or just whatever is in my hands. I need to know if I'm real, or if I'm really here. What the hell am I saying? Okay, there's a row of sideshow games, plenty of people around. Here goes. I reached over, snatching up one of the big stuffed unicorns hanging on the fencing, one of the bigger prizes for shooting the rubber ducks with a BB gun. Everyone in the direct vicinity froze, wide-eyed and slack-jawed. Even the guy behind the counter. I, floated it around like it was flying before just holding it there, trying to yell at them. After a moment, they laughed. They applauded. Some guy, the father, I think, of a little blonde girl just staring at me with a smile. The guy just complimented the teen behind the counter for the amazing special effects. "You guys really went all out this year," he said, the one running the stand, acting all awkward, seemingly just playing along, like this was part of the show. That kid, though, she wasn't looking at the unicorn. Not after I just dropped it to the ground, her dad picking it up, investigating the damn thing. I swear the kid was looking at me, that she was still glaring right into my eyes. I asked her if she could see me, but she just giggled, turning back to her old man as he handed the bear back to the idiot teen. I tried the same thing at another stand, just a ways from the first one. It went about the same way with a few more gasps before the crowd began cheering. More kids looked at me again, but still won't respond to my questions. They just go back to what they were doing, barely batting an eye. Just about every bit of evidence I can find. Am I... Yeah. Am I a... No. No way, no. I'm not about to believe that. I think I need to get out of here. Yeah, to hell with this place. Maybe there's something in the water, or that pilfered hot dog is messing with me. Oh yeah, because a damn stolen meal is going to make me invisible to everyone over a certain age. I'm going nuts. I just know it. Okay, yeah, I'm out of here. Heading for the exit now, and I'll freaking walk home if I have to. I don't know. Maybe I'll hang out in the parking lot and wait for the next bus. That is a long walk back to... What? I walked through the gate, the exit back to the parking lot. I got turned around. It was like I passed through the gate, only to find myself staring at the entrance to the park again, with the gate to my back. I tried again and again, but I can't get out. Now that I really think about it, I don't remember actually entering in the first place. I left the bus, walked through the parking lot, but I didn't, did I? Yeah, I remember getting off the bus and those others getting out with me, but the walk from there, I passed by the old station wagon, stopped and stared at it for a time. Then I was right here, with the gate to my back. Right here, staring into the park. Right here, from where I cannot escape. Maybe there's another way out, another exit to the outside world. Arcadian Heights, Nights of Fear, they call it. They ain't freaking lying. It has to be a trick, some gag gate to mess with the gullible crowd. Yeah, I'm just a gullible schmuck, just a damn sucker buying into this whole charade. Maybe it's a park-wide prank, like they chose someone entering, someone alone who fits the bill. They convince everyone else who enters to play along until the big reveal at the end of the night. I see the cameras mounted to the pillars and lamps. Yeah, I bet they're watching me right now, waiting for me to fully fall for the facade. They can't let me leave because that'd make it all for nothing. Maybe the exit is on some sort of spinning platform, redirecting me if I try to bail. Yeah, that's one hell of an out there theory, but I'm not willing to accept what the back of my mind is trying to imply. I'm not about to play along either, of course. I'll get the hell out of here, one way or another. Just have to find another exit. My heart is racing like hell. This has to be another indication that I'm actually here, right? I'm all over the place, bumping into people left and right, impulsively apologizing with everyone I hit, each of them, every person my body pinballs between. They all feel like stone. They don't reply to my apologies or react to me bouncing from one to the other. Why won't they do something? Hit me back, swear at me, yell at me, do something, please. Okay, need to calm down. I need something to drink. Might as well just grab something. I just snatched up a bottle of water from one of the drink stands. The chick behind the counter just pretended that she didn't see anything. Maybe my theory is right. Was she faking not noticing me, or the bottle just floating away? Jesus. It's alright. Going to be alright. This water hits the spot. Feeling dehydrated. Throat was hurting from my screaming fit from before. I'm good now, calming down, looking for a way out. Just get out of here and everything will be alright. Getting a rash on my arms. Does this place have poison oak or something? Did that asshole on the roller coaster line push me into some damn poison oak? My cheeks are burning too. Feels itchy. Gotta love it when injury decides to party with insults, right? When I get out of here, I am never coming back. Screw this place and this dumb Halloween shindig. I'm stressed, I'm freaking out, and now I'm itchy and burning. Nice reward for just wanting to have some fun. I'm over by the old West-themed section now, Frontier Town, all decked out for the season. Christ, they even painted the hay bales orange and black to look like jack-o'-lanterns. That's pretty lame, if I'm being honest. That old saloon used to freak me out when I was a kid. Can't really put my finger on what it was about it that got to me. Yeah, they had the old undead skeleton cowboys and such for Halloween, but they were no creepier than anything else around here. Come to think of it, I can't even recall exactly when that was. I don't remember my folks bringing me out here for the Nights of Fear event. Mom wasn't a fan of the eerie stuff. I know I was here, and that I was terrified of that place, but that's the kid who got off the bus with me. He just strolled right in like he didn't have a care in the world. Why the hell am I freaking out about it? I wonder if he'd react to me. I don't see his dad around. Kids aren't the best at keeping secrets if this is a setup. Hell with it, I'm going in. You gotta face your fears, kiddo, my old man used to say. My day can't get any weirder, I suppose. Oh, there's the kid's dad, standing in front of the bar. I guess the boy was just catching up with him. Excuse me, sir, didn't you guys get off the bus with me? That sounded stupid. Holy shit. They saw me. Both the man and the kid, they both turned around when I spoke, staring me dead in the eyes. Oh, thank God. This is probably gonna sound nuts, but I swear no one has even acknowledged my presence for the last few hours. I know it's crazy, right? Sir? I'm sorry, I don't mean to... What the hell? They just stared at me all wide-eyed and unblinking before turning back to face the bar, making like I'm not even there again. Sir, I'm so sorry. I truly apologize for bothering you and your son, but I grabbed him by the shoulder and spun him around to face me again. I wasn't trying to be aggressive, but I almost hoped he'd just deck my ass just to get some sort of reaction. He just glared at me. No, not at me. It was just a dead stare in the direction I turned him. Just a blank, vacant gaze, like he was looking right through me. Did I catch them off guard, like made them break character for a moment, before it dawned on them that I'm the guy they're supposed to not see? I'm getting out of here. This place is freaking me out. Those two are the only people in here, but that's the other two from the bus. They just strolled as I was headed for the exit. Hi, this probably sounds like a strange question, but can you see, They both looked at me, or in my direction, just like the kid's dad, turned their heads to face where my words were coming from before just walking by, right to the bar. Look at me! Please, for God's sake, just... Well, that's unsettling. All four of them just standing in a row right in front of the bar. They just turned around, glaring right at me when I yelled. It's like they choreographed the whole damn thing. They're still just staring into my eyes. There's nothing behind their gaze. Hollow, empty eyes. Did it just get colder in here? As I started to back away, waving my hand behind me, desperate to find the door, they all turned back around. They're all just standing there. I'm getting away from this creepy-ass place and not looking... Who's that? No. I know him, the old guy who just walked in from the back room. He looks to be around 60 if I had to guess. Dude looks like he was in solid shape back in the day, still stocky and muscled with a good deal of flab around his midsection, not a hair on his head. His face wrinkled and stoic, both arms are covered in tattoos, his skin looking like imprinted leather. He's not reacting to any of them, any of us. Who are you? Nothing. Who the fuck are you? Answer me. He looked up just for a second before going back to wiping down the counter. The four at the counter are turning again, glaring right into my eyes like the last time. They're all pointing at him, just standing there like statues, pointing it. Who are? No. I ran. I just ran like a damn terrified child. Why is this familiar? Why is this part so familiar? I don't care where I end up. I won't stop running. I'm getting the hell away from here, one way or another. There's the fence. I'm just gonna climb the damn thing. If anyone tries to stop me, I'll know this is all just a ridiculous prank, and I will sue the hell out of this place too. What if I land on the other side and I'm just staring back the way I came? What do I do if that and... No, not thinking like that. I'm going over and freeing myself from this insanity. What? I didn't land back on this side. I don't even see the damn fence I just climbed over. I dropped down, landing right in the middle of the parking lot, right across from that old station wagon. That same green Buick. No one else is around. Nobody is coming or going, just me, surrounded by vehicles. But only one I can focus on. The rest are a blur to me, nothing more than varying shades, shapes, and sizes in the corners of my eyes. This is the only car I see, the only one that matters. This is the only one I know. The moon is shining down from above, the parking lot lights dim, and harder to register tunnel vision. Just a narrow corridor of sight between me and that damn station wagon. I looked in the back, not the seats, but the hatchback. Ropes, tape, crimson-stained cloth. Yeah, my wrists still bear those marks. I still taste the fibers of the cloth. And the way the adhesive irritated my cheeks, I still recall my tears staining the upholstery, that coarse tan carpet. The burns left on my elbows and knees as I writhed and squirmed in an effort to break free. I turn around with the gate behind me once more, my eyes fixed on the path ahead through the otherwise bustling park. Those walking beside and around are just as unfocused as the other cars in the parking lot. It's like they're moving in both fast forward and slow motion at the same time. All of the lights are out, aside from that blurry memory of the vibrant glow they shed upon the park during the hours of operation. He never brought them here when it was still open, after all. Too many eyes, too many witnesses. Those weaving around me beneath the haunting glow of what was, moving like ghosts, like a memory, like me. I walk onward, my thoughts both here and elsewhere simultaneously. My progress is slower than before, not only because I'm not running this time, but that my legs are far shorter now. Legs of a child. The smaller frame I wore on my last visit to Arcadian Heights. The last place I would ever see. My final destination. I see a parting in the bushes that wasn't there before. I memorize every path and each separation in the trees as I battled to find an exit. I know it wasn't there the last time I passed this spot. A wooden staircase leading down. I followed it, both uncertain and confident in what I may find at the bottom. A slender path lies ahead of me as I reach the bottom step. It's not long, but I won't follow it, not yet. The man awaiting my arrival standing on the dock beside a long, ancient-looking boat. The dock that brought me here, somehow dropping all 5 of us off in that parking lot. The shimmering, vibrant lake, a lake that does not surround this park, out in the world I left behind so long ago. I suspect I know where that leads to, but not yet. Not before I am finished here. I wave to the boatman as he outstretches his hand, though it's nice to be seen, to know I will share the company of one who can observe me soon enough. He knows I'll be back. I don't belong here anymore, after all. He was the one who brought me here. I see that now. With the fog surrounding my memory clearing up, he was the one who brought all of us here. Me and the quartet I now make my way to rejoin. Not far to go now. Only one thing left to be done. I was 10 years old when I was brought here for the last time. A decade ago to the day. My mom never liked the idea of me walking home from school, even if it was only a mile or so from the house. I just didn't want to waste precious time waiting for the bus to make its rounds, you know? Dad made me promise to get on the bus, though. Mom used to pick me up while Dad was at work. But she was in the last couple of months of pregnancy with my little sister, and things had been tough on her for a while there. I hate that I never got to meet her. I would have been a great big brother. I should have listened to my father, should have just taken the bus like I promised I would. But nope, I had to be the hard-headed kid. I always was. Yeah, that doesn't make it my fault. That son of a bitch snatched me up, only yards from the house, right off the side of the road, with other cars coming and going. No, this is on him, and all of those people who turned a blind eye that day. I probably shouldn't blame anyone passing by for not paying attention to anything, but wherever they were headed, meh, screw it. I have the right to be a little bitter with how things turned out. He stuck me with something when he dragged me into the car, kicking and screaming. Yeah, I was screaming my guts out and nobody even reacted. I have every right to be pissed that no one noticed. They knew what was going on out there. It had been all over the news for weeks that kids were going missing around the state. Christ, I really should have listened to my dad. What the hell was I thinking? I didn't wake up from whatever he injected me with until it was dark out. I tried to scream again, but with a rag in my mouth, the tape holding it in place, and my wrists and ankles bound, there was nothing I could do. It was late when we pulled into the otherwise deserted parking lot. I don't know how much pull he has around here, but he must have snuffed out the cameras or had them on some sort of loop. That's how they do it in movies anyway. What do I know? I'm just a dumb kid. Was just a dumb kid. I don't know how he dodged security at the gate, but I'm sure he had something worked out for that too. I wasn't his first and wouldn't be his last either. Yeah, he had this down to a science by the time he grabbed me. He dragged me into the park from there. I was still out of it a bit, whatever he pumped into my system, leaving my head loopy and unfocused. When I tried to fight back as we passed the gate, he clocked me one good time, leaving my head spinning again. I remember that saloon door and the ceiling above me as he pulled me through. He picked me up, dropping me on the other side of the bar, knocking the wind out of me again. He walked around, dragging me to the door behind the counter, and into the room in which he would finish the job. I don't remember what he did to me. There was pain almost instantly after he closed and locked the door behind him. I tasted blood and felt it leaking from my body, but I don't know where. Time became a blur as my consciousness drifted in and out. I recall his face, close to mine, his large hands gripping my arms and holding me still. I remember the sounds he made as he broke me more by the second. After a time, I lost all feeling below my head, the agony finally giving way to something almost tranquil. I felt my mind drifting away with that haunting, maniacal face, my final sight in this world. That's when I met my chauffeur for the first time. That's when I met the four who would accompany me on this final trip to Arcadian Heights. Time moves differently there, I think. I know they didn't die at the same time as me, but I know he took them as well. The man and woman, Jeffrey and Lisa, they were around the same age as I was when they died separately, unaware of each other in life. It wasn't until they met in the other place that they grew close. I suppose all of us did, but those two became downright inseparable. The other boy, Tony, I think he was about half the age I saw him to be when we disembarked that boat together. His father, though, Thomas Griffith, I'm not entirely certain how I know. Perhaps we talked about what led us to that dock. I wonder. But he was a single father, one who could not deal with the loss of his son. The man at the old saloon may not have directly ended his life, but he was the reason for his death. He was the one who inspired him to drown his sorrows with any and every pill he could get his hands on. He was the one who inspired us all to visit Arcadian Heights just one last time. It was jarring, the transition back to this plane, I think. Perhaps that's why my memories scattered themselves. My mind reflected the age I would have been by now and those who accompanied me here. That's what I'm thinking, anyway. When I reach the old saloon, there is no hesitation. As I push open the swinging doors, the four with whom I came to reunite are still standing before the bar, each having returned to the proportions and condition and how this man left them. It wasn't until seeing their torn flesh and grizzled, terminal wounds that I noticed similar injuries to my own body. Though he removed my legs below the knee with a hacksaw, being that I attempted to squirm away one too many times, even with my ankles bound, they have returned in my less mortal condition. I see the deep crimson ditches around the circumference of my legs, right below where he cut my jeans short, but I'm whole, if also not. My sliced open gut and throat are now sealed as well, only jagged scars remain, just like those rips across my face, arms, and, well, just about every inch of me. He was thorough, I'll give him that. I walk alongside those others who seek vengeance this night. We don't greet one another, only pass through the counter and into the room, nestled away behind it. Though time has slowed, the events unfolding before us trickling by like an hourglass propped at an angle, we won't waste much time here. Our timing is impeccable, if I do say so myself. The wailing little girl has not yet suffered any injuries beyond those inflicted by the ropes. Thomas moves forward first, picking up the girl and carrying her through the door, closing it shut behind him. The rest of us surround the one who sought to send her to meet us officially. I study his face, that satisfied, grotesquely twisted smile, his sweat-lined scalp glistening in the fluorescent lights above, the slobber trickling down his bearded jowl as he stands on the brink of feeding his disgusting urges. Oh, you have been at this for a long time, haven't you? All things must come to an end, I'm afraid. His expression is almost comical when time resumes its natural course. He can't see us, not yet, anyway. From his perception, he was gazing into the terrified eyes of his victim only moments ago, preparing to feast on her fear as the blood streamed to the floor. Now, he can't even fathom what just happened. He tries to run for the door in search of his prize. Perhaps she simply scampered away while you weren't looking, huh? There will be no passing through, unfortunately. Not until we allow it. One by one, sure, we could torment him. We could inflict wounds upon him, not unlike those he carved into us, but together, well, greater numbers and all that. The boy's father passes back through the door, unbeknownst to the abomination of human flesh, attempting to force his way through. With a smile and a nod, he assures us that the girl is safe, that she is making her way to the security office as we prepare for what's to come. He left her only a short stroll from her destination, revealing himself as a kind, wayward stranger with no ill intent. She is shaken, but calming. She'll be all right once that fear subsides, once she locates shelter and those who can assist her in ways we can't. She'll be fine now. We allow the door to throw itself ajar, just as the now panicking man attempts to heave his shoulder into it. He topples to the ground, his bald head slamming against the bar. His scalp tears open, spilling crimson down his face. His body sways from one side to the other as he tries to gather his bearings. For a moment there, I think he forgot that he should be afraid right now. Sure, he's still in denial that something less than natural is occurring, but he'll get there. We have nothing but time. Almost careening into the bar for a second time, as he staggers back to his now trembling legs, he crawls over the counter, clumsily making his way to the exit. We don't need to give chase to meet him outside, though. Jeff and Lisa are already waiting as he pushes through, pinballing him between each other as they push and swat at the man. He battles to remain standing, but those two are surprisingly strong given their lack of actual tissue and bone. After some back and forth, the man stumbling from one to the other, Lisa allows him to plant his face on the concrete. I can't even remember the last time I saw her smile like that. We all share silent chuckles as the truth of his dire circumstances begins to register on the bloody face of our killer. I can't deny that it really is quite the satisfying expression, now that I see it from the other side of the equation. Once more hobbling back to his feet, his likely broken nose spilling as much of his bodily fluids across his shirt as his scalp, he shrieks out as he runs on trembling legs. Tony gives me a wide, enthusiastic grin after his father gives him a single nod. In an instant, he blinks from before me, re-emerging before the fleeing man as he reaches the exit from Frontier Town. With one swing of his tiny fist, the stocky, elderly man is launched back to where I stand, howling from the bones audibly snapping when he lands. That kid has one hell of a right hook. With a series of whines, winces, and whimpers, the man attempts to separate himself from the ground, which is showing far more resistance to his pleas this time. His ankle twists sideways when he puts more pressure on it, inspiring yet another howl of agony. He squeals again as he tries to straighten his back, a series of snaps and creaks accompanying his moans. Oh yeah, he definitely has quite the collection of broken bones and fractures now, but he's still trying to hobble away, moving considerably slower than before he finally passes the gate leading to the next section of the park. Thomas greets his son with a proud grin, tussling his hair when he returns. He's bouncing on his heels with the widest grin on his face. It's pretty damn adorable. Thomas gives me a nod, turning his gaze to the others. They each mimic his gesture, silently granting me permission to take the next turn. It makes sense that I should be permitted to go next. We all agreed, before any of this began, that Tony's old man should perform the final act of the night. Yes, we all lost our lives to this sick son of a bitch, but he lost so much more. His will to survive was stripped away when his only child was brutally ripped from this world. Even with all of the blood shed by the rest of us, I don't think our agony quite compares to his. I make my move quickly, after allowing the bastard to think that he may be able to escape Arcadian Heights. He's crossing the bridge overlooking the haunted funhouse below when I slam myself against his still, shivering frame. It's interesting to me that we can make physical contact with this man when all the others felt like statues to me. I hadn't even considered this as my associates waged their assault. Perhaps it is simply the fact that we may only interact with the one whose actions led to our deaths in the first place. Of course, Thomas was able to lift the little girl and carry her to safety. It is a fascinating and perplexing thing for certain, but it doesn't matter, all things considered. It may be nothing more than the nature of supernatural vengeance, I suppose. We weren't exactly given an orientation on the subject. The stocky man practically soars over the rail after I slam my shoulder against him. He crashes down to the freshly, previously unstained pavement below to the tune of more snaps and moans. Yeah, he's running out of steam now, barely twitching as he attempts to shift his broken body. We all manifest before him, cutting our gaze to one another. He's still attempting to move as we decide to allow ourselves to be seen by his bloodshot, leaking eyes. It looks like his legs aren't functional anymore. I think I might have done some real damage with this one. There's a strange sort of fascination in that combination of pure terror and the realization of who stands glaring down on him right now. Yeah, you can shake your head in denial all you want, bucko. We're here, whether your little mind can grasp it or not. Live-ish, for one night only. I hear the approaching sirens and see the distant illumination of blue against the starry night sky. The time has come for Thomas to make the final decision. I must say, I'm honestly quite curious to see how this goes. He wants him dead. We all want to see him die, but none of us more than Thomas. Is that enough, though? Is that too easy an escape? Regardless of where he may be headed when his lights go out. Even with my time spent on the other side of the looking glass, I honestly can't say if the pit is real or not. Not for me to know, I suppose. There is no hate or malice in the eyes of Tony's father as he hoists the violently trembling and now crippled man from the ground by the throat. The asshole is trying to make his arms work to wrestle away the fingers tightly gripped around his gullet, but it looks like they're as unusable as his legs right now. Thomas just glares blankly into his eyes as he quivers and spasms. Maybe some of those nerve endings are still functioning after all. It doesn't matter, though. Even if you survive this, I doubt they'll offer premium medical care and physical therapy to a sick, twisted, and grotesque child killer like you. I hear the stomping of feet from some distance away, the beams of multiple flashlights accompanying that almost eerie blue flicker. How long will their search take until they find who they seek, I wonder? Just before the last fragment of life leaves the eyes of the piece of shit who brutally tore us from this world, Thomas releases his grip, allowing him to fall back to the ground one last time. His smile is so genuine as he turns to face us again. I had a feeling he wouldn't finish him off, that none of us would stain our souls in that manner. But we all would have been justified, I think, had we chosen to finish the job. Sharon wouldn't have brought us here in the first place if he didn't feel we had this right. Honestly, I think he wanted this bastard's blood as much as we do, but rules are rules. He has a job to do, after all. While he can't take certain matters into his own bony hands, he can take some liberties with his responsibilities when he has a good reason to do so. Who doesn't love a good revenge story? We remain in place when the authorities arrive, looking quite perplexed by the condition of the beaten and bloody man almost conjoined with the concrete. They can't see us, of course, but he still can. He's barely conscious by the time they strap him down to the gurney. His eyes don't break from our accusing gaze, of course, but it's only fitting that his last sight in this park be that of those who took him down, those whose memory he once reflected upon with a sick and twisted, warm and fuzzy feeling. Those who will now haunt every dream for the remainder of his pitiful life, potentially beyond that as well. His quality of life will likely be quite painful from now on, as he rots behind bars, strapped to whatever contraption allows him to get around. I'd like to think that his suffering has only just begun. As for us, once the ambulance departs the scene, we find ourselves on the dock, gazing upon the one who brought us here, waving a welcoming arm as we approach. It's not a long trip to return to where we now belong, but I'm sure we have enough time to regale our chauffeur with the gripping tale of vengeance, in which he both allowed and encouraged us to indulge. We share another smile, all six of us, as we embark, set to sail off once more. It's been a good day. I think all of us agree on that. I always did love Halloween. Before I get into the thoughts section where I talk about the story a little bit, I want to say that this is all part of a connected universe written by friends Will Rayne and Tim Sprague from The Last Lodge channel, both of whom are narrators on The Last Lodge, and also some incredible writers who you've absolutely heard the stories of. Will Rayne has wrote The Devil's Due, and Tim Sprague has written many stories on the Dark Somnium channel that you've probably heard, The Destiny Machine, The Suicide Engineer, etc. So, yeah, go give a look to Last Lodge, and also Vidit 22. I'm releasing this story the same day as he is, so that you can listen to both of them. His story will be out. I'm not sure what the title of his will be right now. Titles are kind of working in the moment. But yeah, I will. There will be a playlist of videos with his story in there. So go check out the new story on Vidit's channel, the Last Lodge channel, and yeah, onto the thoughts. And that is the story. Wow, got pretty violent in the middle there. Violence against children is pretty horrendous, and reading that was a little bit tough, but the story itself, especially the vengeance in the end, I really like that they let him live and go to prison. That, I think, was great. I think that death is easy. I think that for a criminal, letting them die is pretty simple. Even if there is suffering after death, whether you believe in that or not, I think that there is much suffering to be had in life, and prison is a great choice for someone that's done horrible things. So I like that choice. Good on those people. Screw this guy for killing them. But yeah, thank you all for listening to this story. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all have enjoyed all of the Halloween stories or October spooky season stories. Honestly, I kind of do them in advance, so I'm not sure which stories you're listening to right now. But yeah, again, go check out The Last Lodge and Vidit's channel for more of the stories. I'm going to leave a link to a playlist with all the stories connected to this universe in the description and maybe the pinned comments if I remember to. If I don't have it immediately, as soon as you're listening to this, that means the playlist isn't available yet. So whenever I get my hands on the link to the playlist from Will Rayne, I will go ahead and shove that in the description. So thank you all so much for listening. Much love, ego, volt, anima, vestra.